Hey everyone, Dukaness here with a video testing the changes to aerial accuracy in the latest patch. If you didn't know, Bungie has increased the in-air accuracy for pulse rifles, scout rifles, and auto rifles. Before the patch, I went into a private match and took shots at Biker and Daft under a variety of different scenarios that I'm going to explain in a minute. I recorded that information and then ran the same tests after the patch. I did this to answer 3 questions. For starters, I wanted to know roughly how much Bungie increased aerial accuracy. The reason I say roughly is because shooting while airborne is RNG. You could land 10 shots in a row, or you could miss 100 in a row, even if your reticle is right on your opponent's body. I'd have to take about 1,000 shots before and after the patch to give a perfectly accurate percentage, which I was not down to do, so my estimates are based on testing 6 weapons from 3 different distances. Secondly, I wanted to know if it was reliable to use my vertical space while wielding a primary weapon. Hand cannons have always been reliable while airborne, but other primaries haven't, so I wanted to figure that out and pass the information along. And lastly, I wanted to know if we're better off aiming for the head while airborne or for center mass. The testing is pretty straightforward, and I'm going to let it run while I talk about the procedure and the results. The weapons I chose were the Jade Rabbit, Mida, Doctrine, Vision Stone, Nerwin's Mercy, and Clever Dragon. There's no real reason for why I chose those weapons, they're just weapons I've used in the past. I ignored hand cannons since they didn't get an aerial accuracy change in the patch. And speaking of that, going forward from here, when I say all weapons, I mean all primaries not including hand cannons and not including weapons that have the perk Icarus. With the 6 weapons I mentioned, I fired a set number of bullets from each of the guns at 3 different distances, 20 meters, 30 meters, and 40 meters. Hitting jump shots consistently becomes pretty difficult outside of 40 meters, so that's why I capped the testing there. I ran these tests while aiming center mass, and then again when aiming for the head. So just to quickly summarize the procedure, that's 6 weapons at 3 distances, 1 sample aiming for the head, and 1 sample aiming for the body, both before and after the patch. Let's talk about the results. And actually, just before I give you guys the results, I want to again remind you, aerial accuracy is RNG. My sample size isn't big enough to give exact percentages, so everything is subject to a margin of error. There's a graph linked in the description with the full results, but I'll give you the highlights in the video. For the Mida and the Jade Rabbit, I took 20 shots from all 3 distances. The Mida hit 26 shots before the patch and 38 shots after. The Jade Rabbit hit 24 shots before the patch and 32 shots after. For the Clever Dragon and Nerwin's Mercy, I shot 10 bursts from all 3 distances. Clever Dragon hit 30 shots total before and 47 shots after. Nerwin's Mercy hit 29 shots before and 50 shots after. For the Doctrine and Vision Stone, I also took 20 shots from the 3 distances. For the Doctrine, 21 shots hit before and 27 shots hit after. For the Vision Stone, 30 shots hit before and 33 shots hit after. Scout rifles combined were 40% more accurate post-patch, so 50 bullets hit before and 70 bullets hit after. Pulse rifles were 64% more accurate post-patch, 59 shots hit before and 97 shots hit after. Auto rifles were only 18% more accurate post-patch, 51 versus 60 after. With pulse rifle shots prorated to the same number of bullets that I shot for autos and scouts, the 6 weapons landed 39% more bullets overall post-patch. After reviewing the results of the tests, I'm definitely going to be using my primary while airborne more often, but I won't be doing it all the time. Based on my tests while airborne, about 54% of my shots landed on average, which is about half. That rate isn't high enough to persuade me to run around and constantly jump, because the shots you miss by jumping will likely be more than the shots you cause your opponent to miss with your increased evasiveness. Also, that's 54% in a controlled scenario where my reticle is already lined up and there's no pressure. You're not going to land 54% in an actual gunfight because no one has perfect accuracy. How I feel might change over time, but after the testing and some brief gameplay, I think I'll still primarily play boots on the ground, but definitely use jump shots in more situations. In the gameplay, you might have noticed me doing the opposite of what I'm recommending. I tried forcing the jumps while shooting to get a feeling for how it might play out in a real game, which is why you're seeing me do that and failing miserably in a lot of cases. Seeing how difficult it is to force the jump shots in the one game I'm showing you guys kind of supports my recommendation to only use your vertical space situationally. I didn't play very many games because I was focused on the testing, but I'll show you one example where I thought I used my aerial evasiveness well. My enemy is closing in on me quickly, and he's already weak, so I jump to the left and I land a couple shots to finish him off while taking minimal damage. Another thing to consider is your controller and button layout. I have a custom controller, so jumping and shooting is a little more manageable for me because I never have to take my thumb off the right thumbstick. However, even before I had the custom controller, I was able to do it, just not quite as well, but it's definitely possible with practice. The other thing you can do is change your button layout to bumper jumper. That's going to be extremely frustrating to make that adjustment, but with aerial accuracy playing an increasing role in Destiny, that's a road I'd personally encourage you to go down to remain competitive and improve on your skill. If I didn't have a custom controller, I would certainly be switching to bumper jumper, but that's just my opinion. Given that aerial accuracy is now reliable enough to be depended on in more situations, a very important question rises. Are you better off aiming for the head to get the precision damage, or body to maximize your chances of doing any damage? To determine this, I reran those tests with autos and scouts while aiming for the head. I was going to do pulse rifles as well, but the recoil and burst fire almost guarantees the second and third bullet are not going to hit. While aiming for the head, I consistently hit less bullets than I did when aiming body. That makes sense, because any shots that go left, right, or high are going to whiz past your enemy, because, well, there's less hitbox around the head. You only hit the shots that actually go where you're aiming, or if RNG sprays the bullet low. In most cases, the majority of the shots that actually hit were precision hits. However, aiming for a less forgiving and smaller target causes too many shots to miss, which more than counters the damage bonus of the precision shots that do hit. Therefore, it's of my opinion that you're better off aiming center mass when jump shooting. Let's summarize what we covered today. Assuming the sample size and guns I tested are representative of all primaries in Destiny, Bungie increased aerial accuracy by roughly 40%. I just rounded up to 39%. You can count on about half of your shots to land while airborne in the range of 20 to 40 meters, obviously with a better success rate the closer you are to the enemy. A 50-50 chance for each bullet is not enough to justify flying around the map because the amount of shots you'll miss is higher than the shots your opponent will miss from you being more evasive, against most opponents. As a result, I'll be using my vertical space more, but situationally, not all the time. And lastly, aiming for the body does more damage on average than aiming for the head while airborne because RNG bullet spread while aiming for the head is less forgiving than aiming for center mass. I personally found this information helpful, which is why I ran the test, so hopefully you guys did too. Regardless, boys, it's Valentine's Day today. I pulled some serious strings with Emily to get this video out tonight, so more than ever, I'd really appreciate a like and a comment to make it worth it. Also, go ahead and share this with anyone who you think would find it useful. My goal is to get another video out either tomorrow night or Thursday night about the changes to shotguns, so I'm hoping to see you guys then. But for now, Dukaness out.